Hello, welcome to a sort of developer playthrough of the initial 5 minutes of Meteor Bay, my game I'm creating for my game design course. I'm going to walk you through the first 5 minutes. This version does exclude a couple of things. First of all, you'll notice the exit game button in the top right. That will be eventually replaced with a pause menu. There will eventually be a title screen where you can input the player's name. At the moment that is just set to Sam, and there is going to be a couple more UI elements that will be added as we go. I will mention them when they come into play, but not yet. So for now, let's get started. So this is Meteor Bay. A general plot summary is that Meteor Bay is pretending to be a game similar to Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing, one of those relaxing, peaceful games, but it's not the case at all. In reality, the whole conceit is that the player is going to be trapped in the village and they're not going to be allowed to leave, so we will see elements of that as we go through. First comments, the art style is designed to look like right out of Stardew Valley. I'm using the Time Fantasy tile set, which it fits very well. It looks very retro, very calm, peaceful, bright, happy. It won't always. Hopefully, is the plan. But anyway, let's get started. This is Jessie. So we'll press E to talk to him.
Here we are, Sam. This is Meteor Bay, the closest place to paradise.
I chose to give Jessie this sort of tick when he talks, that he'll say this ho-ho sort of thing. But towards the end of the game, when he stops realizing that he needs to put on this act, he will stop saying this ho-ho sort of thing, because it's all sort of a deceitful lie, and he's pretending to be jolly. But anyway,
I know that we met back at the port, but it would be rude of me to not introduce myself fully now that we're here. I am Mayor Jessie Cage. Cage, obviously, because he's trapping you in this village, which is a prison cage. It's not very subtle. Current keeper and protector of Meteor Bay. I work to make sure everyone in the town is happy and healthy. Calling me Jessie is fine, though I've never been really one for titles.
As you can see, we've got the face reaction in the bottom right. I've got a few sort of tiles for every character. So they have a few emotions. I think it's about, on average, 5 for each character. Let's continue.
So let's see, you filled out all the moving forms, yes? Let me see, looks good, yes, very nice. Well, it seems I've misplaced half of the forms. It's fine, they can wait. I tell you what, while I go find where those blotted forms are, why don't you have a look around the town? I'll meet you at the top of town when you're ready to see your new home. How about that? See you in a few minutes.
Now, before I press E to continue the conversation, he's about to walk off, but I'm going to follow him up to the top. Bear in mind that if the player just waits for Jessie to exit the screen, they will not see this, because it's designed to be very subtle. So he starts to walk off. If I walk up, we will see him going, and look, there we go, that teleport. That is intentional, because it's designed, if the player walks up, they will notice it, but they will sort of pass it off as, it's just a small bug, it's nothing to worry about. It's later revealed that the game is very buggy, deliberately, because the developer who created it has made a lazy rush job of it. So those bugs, air quotes, are canon. They are actually happening in the world, and the characters are aware of it. The player just sort of will hopefully put it out of their mind as just a bug in a game, because that's what you do. And see, the character does not acknowledge that.
What's good, kiddo? Hope you enjoyed the trip. I'm the owner of that there ship you arrived on. She's a beauty, ain't she? My name's Will. I'm the ferryman of this little town. Anyone wants to come over to this here bay, I'm the one who brings them.
Notice he never says anything about going out from the bay, going back to the mainland. You can come to the bay, doesn't mention leaving.
Anyways, now that we're back, maybe I'll go do some fishing. If you ever want to come along, be sure to stop by. Fishing is not a mechanic that's going to be included because it's not necessary, because there'll only be a week or so of in-game content before the sort of main story kicks in. Anyway, let's go to the rest of the town. So there are these beach noises playing at the moment, but as we walk into the town, you will notice that there is more of a music track playing. I'm unsure whether I want the music track to play everywhere, but for now I'm just keeping it in the central area, but that may change. Anyway, let's go talk to Hannah. You're a new face around here, aren't you? The name's Hannah. I was the last to arrive before you. I've been here a few months now. It's so peaceful. Feels like I could spend the rest of my life here. Again, mentioning that they don't want to leave. It's supposed to be very, very subtle, and the player's just supposed to not think much of it on the first playthrough, but then if they came back for another go, they would start to notice these lines and think, hang on. And then also the next one is, although there are those rumours about people going missing in the forest. Haha, I'm just messing. You're going to love it here, I'm sure. She's not messing, because there is going to be a segment later on where the player goes into the forest and the sort of gates between the different areas all get jumbled up and the player was supposed to get very lost. So before we talk to this character, let's talk about the sort of layout of the village. So it's a very general sort of layout. We have just a few sort of objects here that the player cannot walk on. The whole system is on a sort of tile-based system, on a grid base, although later on the player is able to move diagonally and completely freeform. And this only matters because at the moment the player can't really walk down because there's part of a rock there. It's easier if I explain it from this side. There's a rock, so they can't go and touch it. Whereas if we go over here, yeah, they can't get in because there's the top of that tree. When the player can walk diagonally, walking through here is no problem. I'll do that by changing the colliders around. At the moment they're square, rigid colliders, and they'll become more sort of meshy and actually responsive to the actual layout of these objects rather than just big squares. Notice a tombstone. We'll see more of them. Like right here. So I'm going to include some interactions on these. If they press E and interact with these stones, it will say something along the just very vague, like lest we forget or something. This is a monument to the people who died the last time that they tried to rebel against the developer, but that will not be mentioned by anyone, possibly ever, although somebody might mention it offhandedly towards the end. Hi there, you must be the newbie Grandpa's bringing today, right? What's your name? Sam? You're cuter than I thought you'd be. Beth is supposed to be into you. You're supposed to notice this very clearly at the start. Beth is putting on a complete facade and is just pretending to like you so that you'll like her back and then want to stay with her and not leave the town. I mean, I'm Beth, the future mayor of the Bay. At the moment, I basically handle all the stuff that Grandpa loses or forgets, which can be a lot of stuff. Anyway, nice to meet you. Hopefully I'll see you again soon. ... blush. Yeah, so she's definitely not being very subtle. And later on she gets a bit more angry when you keep trying to escape. Let's put it that way. So let's go see a completely different character on the other end of the spectrum of how potentially evil these people are. We have Sophie. So Sophie is a more recent character added to the game. So after this big rebellion, the developer had a lack of adult characters, so he had to create a few more, and Sophie was one of them. So Sophie's a bit more of a rebel. She doesn't really appreciate what's going on in the town at the moment, but she's playing along with it for now, because it's not causing any problems yet. How's it going? I'm Sophie. You're the new resident, yeah? What was the journey like? You found your way here okay? Oh, of course the mayor brought you. Sorry, me and him don't really see eye to eye on much. It's alright though, I just make his job a little more difficult from time to time. Kind of like taking some forms when he's not looking. I suppose I should let you explore some more. Catch you later. So yeah, Sophie's got a mischievous side. She's definitely not afraid to fight the power or stick it to the man, put it that way, which is definitely expanded upon later when she becomes one of the main characters who will tell you about all of the glitches, make you aware that, yes, all of the people in the village are seeing it too. It's not just the player. Another tombstone. This is for Adam's parents, I believe. This is Adam. Adam is one of the love interests, like Beth. Hey, what's up? You must be Sam. Welcome to Meteor Bay. I'm Adam, and I've been here as long as I can remember, but there's plenty to do here, so it ain't that bad. Most of the time I'm here practicing my music, but if you ever need someone to show you around, I'd be happy to. Looking forward to getting to know you. So yeah, that's Adam. And we are pretty much done looking around the town for now. Is there much else to talk about? Let's talk about the layout of the town quickly. So you'll notice that there's a lot more, another statue, just to point it out. There's a lot of sort of circular paths like this, where you don't really need like this path I'm walking along now. But you will later when members of the village walk out and start patrolling, looking for you when you escape your house, which they try to lock you in, or I can't remember if they're going to lock you in or they're going to try and just stop you getting to a different house. But they will be patrolling and you will have to use the different paths to avoid their gaze in stealth segments. So let's go up to top of the town where Jessie is waiting for us. And we are back to sort of more woodland sounds, a bit more ambient. There is a reason for that. I will go into it in a second, but let's talk to Jessie first. So Sam, how do you like the town? Lively, right? I saw in your application that you wanted to escape your busy life, yes? Well, rest assured that Meteor Bay is the perfect place for that. All we ask is that you participate as a member of the town. We don't want you being a shut-in now, do we? This is another line which is sort of poking fun at the player. So it's the whole sort of central theme of the game in the latter half is you're using this game to escape your tedious life, but then you want to escape the game, and it's very contradictory. So just stop being a shut-in and get out there. So that is why that line is in there. Oh, that reminds me. We have a festival coming up this Friday. It's called the Shooting Star Festival, and as the newest person in town, you'll have a starring role. You'll choose a single member of the town to share a starlit dance with, so start getting to know your potential partners. There's a lot of emphasis from all the characters on talking to people, because the other mechanics of the game are not very deep. And that is intentional because they are completely discarded within the first segment of the game. Like after that, you don't use them again. So there's no point in developing them super, super deep when they're not going to be used. So talking to people is sort of the main mechanic, and getting to know them and getting the story. So anyway, there's Adam, his sister Liz, Lucas, and of course my granddaughter Beth. I'm definitely biased, but I think you should choose her. Oh my, you've caught me rambling. Come, let me show you your new home. So we are going to see another glitch again if I follow Jessie over here. Jessie deliberately walks slower than you because he's old. That should be rather self-explanatory. But it does mean that you can get there before him, which is fine. But we will wait for him because he's getting old, a little slow. There we go, another glitch. Like, it's subtle, because the idea is that the player would have, at this point, given up on waiting for Jessie and just walked the whole way. I am going to actually, we can show that in a second. So we're getting towards the end of the curated content now. So, we'll talk to Jessie. Welcome to your humble abode. It might look a little small right now, but once you're properly settled in, we can talk about extensions and the like. Extensions and the like are not a mechanic that's going to be implemented because, again, there's no need. After a week, the plot gets very different, and your mind is not going to be focused on the brand new patio that you want to get. It's just, hopefully. If it is, then I failed as a game designer. But there we go. I've left you a few things in those crates to help you on your way, so hopefully you'll have everything you need. Gosh, just look at the time. This is the point where a clock UI will drop down in the top left corner, and it will say like Monday 5 p.m. or 5 to 6 to 7. So it's sort of encouraging the player to maybe go into town one more time, but go to bed soon, so that the Monday is over, and then there'll be 3 more days until the Shooting Star Festival, which is the point when we jump off the deep end. The journey must have taken longer than I thought. Well, I'd better get back to town. If you need anything more, then by all means stop by the town hall. See you tomorrow. This is the end of the current build. The game will continue with a similar atmosphere and style until the Shooting Star Festival, where everything will fall apart. So Jessie walks off, and we're done with him. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about the other mechanics and show one last thing before finishing off. We have the farm here. Yeah, it looks wonderful, I know. It's deliberately small because I don't want the player to be spending all the week before the festival farming, because if they do that, then they're not going to get to know the characters enough, and I want them to know the characters so that when the characters start dying, there's some emotional impact, and it's not just, oh, that guy died, who are they again? So it's all sort of an effort to get the player interested in the characters and not focused on other elements of the game. So there'll be some crops in there, which the player will be able to plant. There will be a segment later on in the game where they have to, instead of watering the plant, add poison to them, because that's how poisoning somebody works. But there will be a section where you have to poison one of the town members by growing some crops for them. You cannot currently go into the house, although in there will be a bed and maybe a table. The bed will let you sleep and move on to the next day. You do that however many times, and you will reach Friday, which was the Shooting Star Festival. So that pretty much explains this area. And just one last thing. So in this area in the woods, there is a sort of gap in the trees here, and that's because if you walk into the trees, they all disappear. There will be a nice fade effect added over this in due time, but for now it's just a straight transition. This is because in here is where Sophie, the sarcastic person, is going to explain the glitches and show that she can see them as well, and she's going to teach you how to walk diagonally. She's going to teach you how to walk diagonally because there is a section over here which you cannot get through unless you are walking diagonally. So as you can see, I'm trying to get there, but it's not letting me. So that area is going to be where all of the sort of second act of the game kicks off. And it's also worth mentioning that around that time, the music in this area will start to change, which is why I've sort of kept the music separate in each area. So it will become a bit more mysterious and sinister once you start to get a general gist of what's going on. So anyway, that is about it for an explanation of what we have in Meteor Bay at the moment. Going forward, I'm looking to add the clock system, the farming system, and then it will just be creating content for the next few days, adding the rest of the villagers. So I believe we've seen about 6, I think. So it will be adding the other 10, I believe, in. But now I have the system down for that, so that won't take as long as it has for this version. So that pretty much explains everything I wanted to talk about. One thing you will notice, the controls are very RPG standard, obviously, because again, trying to trick people. Obviously later when they can walk diagonally in freeform, it sort of again signifies a shift towards a different style of game and makes it clear that this is not going to be a casual happy fun RPG. So I think that will be about it. I'll end it off by walking to the beach, why not? And yeah, there will also be a path here towards a castle where two of the other residents live, but that will get done later because that's a later part of the game. So for now, that's about it. So thank you for listening.